Hey everybody, and Happy New Year. Well, you're looking at this video, so I assume you made it through 2018 okay, and I hope you did that in good health, right? So welcome to my channel. If you're new, this is the first video of the year, and it's a very special one because I'm going to be announcing a challenge, and a challenge with very cool prizes as before. Now, this is a BENQ image tutorials challenge, partnering up with BENQ once again, for the simple reason, for those of you who don't know, that I have become a member of the BENQ Ambassador Program this year. That basically means that because I've been using BENQ gear for many years, I get to work with other BENQ users, talk to other artists, and do some promotion and whatnot. Now, this will allow me to do some product reviews this year, but also, for example, do contests like this where they will put up really cool prizes, and that benefits you guys, right? Okay. So what about the contest? Well, BENQ is looking for a key visual to promote their brand new PD3220U, okay? Brand new product, and they want a visual element to promote that. Now, what's a key visual? Well, I'll show you a couple of examples from a previous contest so you get an idea. Here we go. Okay, so we're looking for a key visual to support a new product, in this case the monitor by BENQ PD3220U. Well, if you want to improve your chances in actually winning this competition or getting one of the cool prizes on level 1, 2, and 3, it's pretty key to understand what we're talking about here as far as product is concerned, right? I mean, how are you going to create a key visual for a product if you don't know what it is? So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the specs of the new monitor to give you a better understanding of what the new features are, and that will help you to hopefully incorporate that into your design and improve your chances, okay? Now, monitor obviously a 32-inch 4K Thunderbolt 3 with display P3. Now that needs some explanation, and I'll go through all of that stuff. But keep in mind that this is a monitor for graphic artists, so not just 3D artists, photographers, video folks, people that create 2D stuff, design work, all of that, right? Now, if we scrub down here, the first thing you'll notice is that you can rotate the screen. So you can use it horizontally or vertically. Now, if you do a lot of layout stuff, you might want to use it vertically. 3D people might want to use it horizontally, but you have that option. And of course, your operating system will support that if you want to rotate that, okay? So that's pretty easy to do. Now, if we move down, the next thing here is Thunderbolt 3. Now, this monitor is pitched and put into the market as a MacBook Pro ready screen. Now, what does that mean? Well, there are a couple of features on this monitor that are in line with what are defaults on a MacBook Pro. It doesn't mean that you can only use it on a MacBook Pro. It says that it's ready for a MacBook Pro, okay? So, for example, Thunderbolt 3, and I'll have to explain that a little bit. Well, we used to have a thing called USB 2.0, a connector port, a USB connector port that was pretty slow, and then later on we got the 3.0 and the 3.1, and most recently we got the USB-C port. Now, the USB-C port is basically just a changed shape design of the plug, not necessarily much faster. However, there has been something else called Thunderbolt, and Thunderbolt now fits onto that USB-C port shape. Now, to give you an idea what that means, a USB 3.0 port has a transfer speed of about 5 gigabits per second. A Thunderbolt 3 port has a transfer speed of about 40, so it's 8 times faster. Now, that is very important if you are working with multiple screens like I am, where you don't want any lagging going on when you're switching stuff from one screen to the other and so forth, all right? Now, because a MacBook Pro has Thunderbolt 3 by default, that's why it's a MacBook Pro ready. But again, it doesn't work just on MacBook Pros. Right, so that's that. Let's see what else. Color, of course. Crazy important. Well, for me anyway. When I'm working for clients, and especially when I'm working on logo work and whatnot, it is critical to get the exact right color. Now, a couple of reasons why this screen will help you. First of all, it is a 10-bit monitor. This monitor supports 1.07 billion colors, so that's a B for a billion, where a typical 8-bit monitor supports about 1 million colors. And the wide color range helps you to be very specific when working on, for example, logos, photography, 3D art, and so forth. Okay. What else? Let's see. P3 color space. Now, to explain that, I need to show you this little graph here, where the white triangle is the sRGB color space, and the orange one is the P3 color space. Now, the thing there is that P3 color space is something that is by default used on MacBook Pros. So again, that is the reason why it's set up for use on a MacBook. Okay. What else? Calibration, as mentioned. First of all, your screen comes with an individual calibration report, so you know exactly what's going on. And of course, you have the option to calibrate your screen later on yourself, either using hardware or software. And I would recommend using hardware, and I do that myself. What else? HDR10 support. Now, to give you a better understanding of what that's all about, I need to make a little reference here. Some of you might know that I'm also a photographer, and in photography people talk about HDR all the time, and HDR stands for high dynamic range. So the way I always explain it is basically the difference between the darkest dark and the lightest light in your photograph, which would mean a high dynamic range. Now, in the case of a monitor or a TV, we are talking about color, not light. Okay, so how big is the range between, for example, the darkest red and the brightest red? And that will give you a high dynamic range. Now, what does it mean if you do not have a high dynamic range? Well, you'll see these very ugly bands going through your screen when you're looking at something. So this is a very high level, and it has to be, because it has to support 1 billion colors, and that's what that is. Okay. Okay, so what else? There are a lot of preset modes that you can use here. The monitor comes with a puck, and you see that on this photograph right here. But you can easily switch between different modes. So for example, if I'm working on photographs, I'll work in darkroom mode, or maybe if I'm doing video editing. If I'm working on 3D animations or 3D modeling, I will be in animation mode. And let's say I'm working on some kind of a technical layout or whatnot, I could have the option to work in CAD/CAM mode. Okay, so that is basically what I wanted to show you guys about this dual view, of course. But let's go back up, and we're going to go to the specs, so we can just run through those to make sure that I didn't miss anything important that I wanted to mention to you guys. Okay. Right, so 31.5 inch effective screen size, resolution 3840 by 2160, IPS panel type, of course, pretty important. LED backlight, so the light is literally coming from the back, and it's power efficient because it's LED. Let's see, brightness, response time, it's a 60 Hz screen, 16:9 aspect ratio, which is kind of important because not all screens are that nowadays. Here is the 1.07 billion colors that I mentioned. The color gamut, P3, there you go. Let's see, 10-bit color, as mentioned, built-in speaker and headphone, of course. Let's see, on-screen display, you can switch to all sorts of languages, which is kind of neat. You have picture-in-picture, kind of cool. A visual wall mount if you want to do that. Let's see what else we got. All the modes here, animation mode, CAD/CAM mode. You can go through that at your leisure, and what I'll do is I'll actually I'll put a link below to this page. The Thunderbolt is mentioned here, ideal for hooking up multiple screens, and then of course connectivity. So you got two HDMI's, you got one display port, you got USB 3.1 hubs for downstream and upstream. These are basically cables that you connect from the monitor to your PC for USB connectivity between the two. Now the USB-C type here, that is where you have your Thunderbolts and whatnot, okay? Let's see, power, yeah, great dimensions, cool. Yeah, that's basically it. And, yeah, thank you. And let's see, Mac compatible, yeah, there you go. So that's what I wanted to mention to you guys related to the product. Like I said, it is critically important to understand what product you're working for when creating a key visual. So hopefully that will prepare you better to make your best work. All right, moving on. Well, that's pretty sweet, right? Okay, so that's kind of the thing that they're looking for, but be creative. Now the cool thing is, yes, it has to have a 3D element, but this is a much wider net. As a 3D artist, you need to be able to master a bunch of techniques, right? So this one is wide open. You get to use 3D. It has to have a 3D element actually, but you can also use InDesign, Photoshop, even photography if you have to. Anything, any element you want to incorporate into this is okay, right? Make sure you abide by the rules below, of course, but that's a given. So what about the dates? Well, of course, today is the announcement date. You get to work on your entry until March 1st at midnight, and you have to send it to the email address below. It's going to be posted online for public voting, and that cutoff date is going to be March 7th. Now, based on all the public votes, the professional jury will pick their number 3, 2, and 1. And as before, we have 2 wildcards. So if there are 2 entries that we feel should have been in that top 10, we can make that top 12. Now, once numbers 3, 2, and 1 are chosen, all the others, so number 4 to 10, will be chosen by the professional jury based on all the entries. So what about the prizes? Well, here we go. Wow, pretty sweet prizes, right? Well, if you can't wait to see if you're the winner and you definitely want to get your hands on a PD3220U, then you need to check out BNH, because at this point in time, that is the only place where you can get this monitor, right? So I'll put a link below to their website and you can check it out if you want. It's found below. So as you can see, pretty sweet challenge, great kickoff of the new year. I hope you guys will participate and may the best person win. So have a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. See you guys soon. Bye.